Hey, good morning. It's Carrie here. So I want to explain a little bit about what I do and how I can help. But also I'm going to explain what this bit is right here. So this is actually just an experiment and it's mostly for me. I'm going to start doing some self-care on myself whilst I explain it to you. So I'm just going to grab a couple of cushions. My belief is that most self-employed people, especially creative people, don't spend enough time looking after themselves. And that can be an accessibility thing. It can be about making time in the day. It's about prioritizing your budget. And sometimes it feels like there's just not enough of everything to go around. Even if you're doing super, super well and you're making, I don't know, a shit ton of money. And what I like to demonstrate is that actually within 10 minutes, you can make a big difference for your body. And when you're making a big difference for your body, you're making a big difference for your creativity, because a happy body, a soft body, a calm body is one that allows you to make creative leaps and jumps and is available for you to be cognitively daring, physically daring. So, the next few weeks is just an experiment. This is me getting back to the roots of what I do. This is my body of work, and the body of work that I have and can share with you will really improve and help your body as you work. So we're just going to start with some really simple, easy myofascial release. So myofascial release, for me, there are varying forms. It's a very slow, gentle technique. There's no pushing, there's no shoving. It is allowing yourself to be connected with your body. Okay, so that big, deep breath. Again, there's another one. It's just me dropping back into myself. When we've got a lot going on, when our world is cognitively and physically demanding, we forget to just be here in the here and now. And I'm a part of that too. And as a massage therapist who is always looking after other people's bodies, and people often say to me, so what do you do for yourself? And I say, well, I work on myself. I do my thing for myself. And then I realized actually I wasn't working on myself and I wasn't doing the thing for myself. So here we are. So what I'm currently doing is just applying some very gentle pressure, and I'm using the muscular part of my forearm to just hold into this lower arm, this one here. And I'm doing it in such a way that I am using very little pressure and very little force, which is allowing my brain to go, so what's going on here then? Is this an internal pressure or an external pressure? And because my pressure isn't changing, it isn't shifting, it's giving a signal for my brain to go, well, maybe this is an inside thing. And if it is, and this pressure increase is inside us, we can, see my body's dropping in again, we can relax that bit of the body. We can relax this system. So it's giving the brain something to feed back to and with. It's getting me out of thinky mode and into here I am mode. That's super important. And I don't think there's any better time to do that than a Monday morning. So my plan is to show up on Mondays, to show up on Wednesdays, and just share with you 15, 20 minutes of self-treatment and self-care. And if you want to follow along too, we're going to use really simple equipment. Some weeks when we're working on the upper body, you'll just be sat down. Maybe a couple of cushions would be helpful. And as we go along, you may well require a soft tennis ball, or if you have one, a foam roller. And even if you don't own those things now, maybe this will just pique your curiosity as to what a slow movement, slow connection to your body practice can really do. So the reason why I'm working at the top of this arm is because if you think about how hard your hands work, if you think about how we are always manipulating something with our fingers, whether that's a phone or a keyboard, whether we're driving, whether we're writing, whether we are Oh, you know when you are stressed or annoyed with someone, but you're not allowed to show it. So you're doing poker face, but quite often your hands are giving you away, like you are clenching your fists or you are flicking your fingers against each other. Oh, that's quite exciting. I only have low battery. Haha, didn't prepare for this very well, did I? So our fingers, let me just try and see if we're still connected. Our fingers, our hands are constantly giving us away, even when the face is trying to say everything's fine, everything's cool. And they do a lot of work. But if you think about how your hands are slender, they are delicate, they are able to grip and knit and make small, tiny movements. And if all the musculature for your hands that's required for those small, tiny movements within your hands, you'd have fat fingers and you'd not be able to achieve anything. So the actual musculature for your fingers and all that dexterity is up here where this. So, okay. So here's the thing. My working arm, right, has now shifted. So I've gone from working with the meaty pad to getting the elbow point in. So I have now, and this is unintentional, it's just what my body's kind of slid towards. So I'm now getting a slightly deeper pressure using that elbow point. So I'm working into deeper layers of muscles. So all the muscles that control these really long tendons that allow you to make these tiny dexterous movements are all up at the kind of meatier end of your forearm. So if you want to look after your fingers, if you have grip strength issues, if you find that your fingers buckle or lock as you work, actually what you need to work on is these little muscles up here at the top. There we go, another level dropping in. And through this process, the way that I work, it's kind of an invitation for you as well to experiment and see how connected or disconnected you feel from your body. Okay, so you might have noticed I haven't moved very far. There's not a lot going on. That's because it's that taking your time, going slow kind of style of work. There's enough push, there's enough shove, there's enough hustle in your everyday life. Taking 10 minutes to just settle. It's a very cool thing to be able to gift yourself. Oh, okay, I'm going to swap arms so I can talk you through it a little bit more, how it will look and how it will feel for yourself. So let's go through that setup again. So I've just got myself comfortable on a chair. Excuse me. It would be helpful if your back is supported as well. But for this, I'm going to be leaning forward. Okay, so I just have a big old bolster and a cushion so I can build myself up higher and give myself a better working platform so I'm not buckled over. You can do this on tabletop as well. So we're using this part of the forearm. It's kind of like this muscular, meaty section of the forearm. And we're just going to run it against the corresponding part of the other arm, but on the opposite side. So these muscles here, clench fingers. These muscles here, stent fingers. So if you think about how hard your hands work, there is this push me pull you between here and here. Quite often when people have thumb issues, we're looking at about here-ish, about 2/3 of the way down. And if you put your finger in there whilst you're waggling your thumb, you can actually feel stuff like moving around. So we're going to use this meaty part of the arm to work on this part up here. We're just settling in. You might want to move your feet a little wider apart, feel grounded. So never underestimate what could be achieved with a small amount of intentionality. So as I place one arm on top of the other, I'm setting the intention of sinking into the arm, to sink into the muscles, to allow there to be a softness, a relaxedness. Not trying to push, not trying to hutch up, not thinking ahead into my day, just focusing on how that feels. Checking in with the rest of my body. Am I back okay like this? Are my feet comfortable? Am I hanging my head forward? Can I bring my head back a little bit? Is the arm that's doing the work feeling okay? Or is my shoulder a little uncomfortable? In which case, how can I change? Am I causing myself pain? These are little momentary check-ins. None of them are big, complicated stories. They're all just little, how am I doing? How am I feeling? Taking note of your breath. Do you feel as though you're just trying to get this done and that your breath is quite high and shallow? Can you bring that breath down deeper, deeper into your ribs, into your belly? Can you feel your belly expanding with the breath? How does it feel to take a moment to find the softness and the quietness? If your body feels like it needs to move slightly, just let it go. Let it softly go where it needs to go. I'll tell you what, I'm going to charge my battery next time. This is about me making a commitment to show up. So even though I'm running on a flat battery, literally from my phone, possibly metaphorically for me, that's why we're here, to do the work, to get us back into place, where we feel vibrant and connected to ourselves, connected to our purpose, to our creativity, connected to all that's around us. Now we've moved into elbow point. I'm just going to reposition myself slightly so I feel more comfy. My plan is to break this down for you bit by bit, chunk by chunk. Show up here and do the work for myself. And not only am I going to share with you these self-care tips, I want to share with you some other stuff that I do. I'm going to be setting myself a weekly walk, and I'll give you the opportunity to play along with that as well. I'm going to be sharing with you some of the journaling prompts I'm using, some of the somatic exercises I'm using. I'm going to bring you in on my process. So this is what I've been doing for 20 years, and it works. It creates bodies that feel harmonious and fluid and slinky. It offers you ways to clear that emotional gunk and cognitive gunk and physical gunk. All of this is like in my little old body of work, and I want to share every little bit of that with you. But we're going to work slowly, intentionally, with curiosity. Alrighty. So that's a very small taster. Like I said before, in the next kind of session, sometimes we'll be working on the floor and sometimes we'll be seated. And you might find it useful to have maybe like a therapy ball like this. It's like a squishy thing, any kind of ball that doesn't make a squeaky noise, doesn't annoy the dog. that has a little bit of squish. I also really like these. They're just like practice tennis balls. So they're slightly bigger than a regular tennis ball. They come from like places like Decathlon. They've got a certain amount of squish and they're a little bit, like I said, a bit bigger. And then the other tool we may use is a foam roller. So it's quite a skinny foam roller. Always useful to have a large old pile of cushions to go with you because just settling in gently rather than and I will probably teach you ways to use a foam roller that you haven't seen before because there's always like a focus on kind of like rollering and being really punchy with for this kind of blunt tools. And in fact, there are really subtle ways to use it. So I will share those with you over the next few weeks. Alrighty, that was about 15 minutes of just lovely self-care. If you have watched this on the catch up, thank you. And leave us some comments. And I'll catch up with you and I'll see you Wednesday morning, hopefully 8:30 again. Let's get into a routine. We can experiment and just explore this body of mine. All right, take care, big love. See you later.